Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Emmanuel, and now I am a third-year medical student at McGill University in Montreal, Canada. Now, in order to get into medical school, I had to write and do well in the CASPer test. CASPer stands for Computer-Based Assessment for Sampling Personal Characteristics. Now, this popular admissions test is not only used in medical schools, it's also used in other health professional programs. To name a few, of course, we have medicine, there's nursing, dentistry, optometry, pharmacy, physiotherapy, the list goes on. And the test evaluates your social intelligence and professionalism skills. This includes a huge list of non-academic skills such as ethical decision-making, maturity, empathy, professionalism, of course, communication, teamwork, leadership, the list goes on. But essentially, these are all characteristics that will make you a future excellent healthcare practitioner. So everything I share as of this point is true for the 2023-2024 admission cycle. Now, the CASPer test has been evolving on a yearly basis. And if you're watching this video in the future, do note that some or a lot of the information that I'm presenting here today can be false. So it's important to check the website provided in the description below to make sure that you are up to date with all the information required for the test. But as of the 2023-2024 admission cycle, the exam is divided into two sections. You have the video-based section and the typed-based section. The video-based section is the section during which you will record yourself, just like I'm doing right now, speaking to a camera and answering a particular question. Whereas the typed response question is the classic CASPer exam, before the video-based response was a thing back in my day, where essentially you have to type out your response. So the video response section will contain 6 scenarios, 4 of which are video-based, meaning there's a video and then you will be provided with a question, and 2 of which are word-based. So there's no video, you just get a question and you have to answer it. You'll have 1 minute to answer these questions in a recorded fashion, and all of these scenarios will be provided to you in randomized order. Now, the typed-based section is a little longer. It contains 8 scenarios, 5 of which are video-based, 3 of which are word-based. So each scenario will be followed by 3 open-ended questions, and you'll have 5 minutes to answer all 3 questions for each scenario. So make sure to use your time wisely. Now, the test itself will take about 90 to 110 minutes to complete, and each individual scenario, whether it's one video-based response or the 3 questions that you're typing your answers to, they will be graded by a different evaluator. And this is done to minimize bias, so you don't have an evaluator that, let's say, doesn't like your face or doesn't like the way you type, grading you for every single scenario and giving you a bad score for that reason. And they're not trained to do that, but I'm just giving you an example. That way you'll get a diverse number of graders, some of which can be more strict and others can be more lenient, and everyone's going to be evaluated this way in order to make it as fair as possible for every candidate that's writing the CASPer test. So for more information on the test, the available test dates and test fees, please visit acuityinsight.app/CASPer, link in the description below. Okay, now if you're watching this video, honestly, you probably already know about the CASPer. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time explaining what the test is. What you really want to know is, how do you prepare for the CASPer? Can you prepare for the CASPer? Well, the answer is yes. And on top of that, you should prepare for the CASPer. You shouldn't just walk into the exam saying, well, I don't need to study for it. It's an ethics-based, moral kind of exam. I'm a good person. I'm a good problem solver. I can figure it out on the fly. Yeah, that might work for, a super rare subset of people, but for the vast majority, including myself, I prepped for it, and you should too. It's highly recommended because at the end of the day, you want to be in that 4th quartile. You want to be in the top 25% of students to maximize your chances of getting into the program of your dreams. Okay, so we know that the test has time constraints, right? You have 1 minute to record the video, or you have 5 minutes to answer 3 questions. So you have to be really good at managing your time. And It doesn't take me a minute to film a YouTube video and think about everything I want to say on the spot. It takes more time than that. But with practice, I'm able to condense the amount of time that I take to film a YouTube video. And it's the same for the CASPer test, right? So you want to be able to practice to narrow down the sentences to be as concise but as specific as possible. Okay, you don't want to continue rambling on and not really answering the question at the end of the day. And again, with your typing speed, the reality is you don't have to be the fastest typer in the world, but it's good to have a decent typing speed. And one of the resources that I'm going to share later on in this video actually has a built-in speed typing calculator, which will tell you how fast you type, and it's great for practice. We'll get to that in a little bit. But what's super important is that you practice scenarios and you get expert feedback. And the reality is the only way to get expert feedback is if you have a personal coach, or if you use one of the numerous companies or websites that offer expert CASPer feedback. Now, here's a couple of resources that I have personally used, or I have helped create, or I've come across but haven't really used. Thought it would be interesting to share, compare and contrast each one of them. Okay, so the first resource that I want to talk about for CASPer Prep is called Prep Beacon. And I'm super excited about this one because this is a resource that I've personally helped contribute to create. Some of the content that you'll see on that platform was filmed by me. So you'll see me there talking about some foundational, super important CASPer concepts. So the reason I think that Prep Beacon, and obviously I'm a little biased by saying this, I'll be honest, but I do honestly think that it is arguably one of, if not the best tool on the market right now, because it's super affordable. One, there are also free resources that you don't even need to pay to use. And on top of that, the mission statement. I mean, it was created by dental and medical students who wanted to provide a super realistic test format, but also have it accessible at super competitive and affordable rates for individuals who might not be able to meet the financial demands of some of the better known CASPer resources out on the market, which we'll talk about later. So as it stands right now, as I'm filming this video, and obviously this is subject to change, but the pro version actually stands at $120 as of August 10th. This is the time that I'm filming the video. And I know they were, talking with some of the creators, they were talking about it having it at about $150. So if it's currently at $120, then all the more reasons to get the pro version. And the amount of content that you're getting for that reasonable fee is ridiculous. So for starters, the free version of Prep Beacon gives you a study guide that you could use to prepare for your test. It also gives you a list, a certain amount of study notes, which go hand in hand with some of the videos that I filmed and some of the other team members of Prep Beacon also filmed. They go hand in hand with it. One that I think is particularly useful, which I believe the free version has access to, is the Doing Right notes. So the Doing Right notes is actually a condensed version of this book, which is a book that, I bought to read and, practice and learn about medical ethics. And, that's great and all, but I'm personally someone who doesn't like reading books unless they're like super cool medical books. And yeah, this is medical ethics, but it's also 400 pages. So I would much rather read a condensed version that has all the high yield topics, such as those study notes. And some of those concepts are also covered in some of the videos that I filmed. Okay, so as for the videos, there are two types. There are the core videos and the breakdown videos. The core videos provide you with the core foundational concepts that will allow you to tackle any CASPer question. It'll give you strategy, tips, and tricks in order to determine what question type you're dealing with, or what kind of scenario you're dealing with, and what's the best way to approach each scenario and each question and maximize your score. Whereas the breakdown videos actually take a scenario and break it down as per the title. So you'll actually read the scenario with one of Prep Beacon's content creators, and the team has created a whole PowerPoint presentation interactive PowerPoint presentation where you're actually going to break down the scenario, go through each question that you could potentially get on a CASPer test, and see how to answer it in a step-by-step fashion, which is great for when you're starting off and you're trying to grasp all the concepts that I talk about in the core videos. You can apply them using the breakdown videos. And if you want to check these out, right, some of these videos are available on the free version. Of course, to get access to all the content, you have to get the upgrade to the pro version. But if you like these kind of things, you can get a taste of it on the free version and then determine whether or not you want to spend that extra little bit of cash to unlock all the features that PrepBeacon has to offer. So one of the other super awesome things that PrepBeacon has to offer is that on top of having human graders, they also have a built-in AI grading system, which means, and I've tried this out, I did a practice test with a couple of scenarios, and it took me 15 minutes to complete, let's say, and I got instant AI feedback. And then I read through the AI feedback and I thought it was super reasonable, right? I was a little rusty. I wasn't expecting to get super, super top grades, but I did get, a decent score with awesome feedback, which you can check on the screen. I'll put a picture somewhere here and you could pause the video and read it at your own time. But as you can see, I got a score of 8 on 9, 7 on 9, which is pretty good. I mean, it even tells me what quartile my answer is in. So all of my answers are 4th quartile answers. So although I'm a little rusty, it seems like I'm still in that top 25% of students, which is excellent. And if you want to track your progress, well, I think this is an awesome way of doing so. But if you're not a big fan of AI, AI feedback, you think, I don't know, I'd rather have someone with, an expert opinion, a human grader, which is totally understandable. Well, they have that option too. Unfortunately, I believe it's only offered in the pro version, but nonetheless, if you just want an extra free resource to use, I think that's pretty sweet. So the last thing I wanted to talk about that PrepBeacon has to offer is that typing speed test. So this is super cool. Of course, you could go on Google and, search a typing speed test and see what your words per minute are. But what you can't do on Google that's available with PrepBeacon's typing speed test, and I think what, brings it up a level, is the fact that when the creators built this typing speed test, they used words and sentences that are commonly used in CASPer scenarios, in like the type-based responses, and that's how they made their typing speed test. So you'll notice that when you're using it, you'll see that it could be literally a sentence that you would write to answer a question on the CASPer test, or words that are commonly used in answers to the CASPer test. So not only are you getting an idea of how fast you can type, you'll also get an idea of how fast you can type a realistic CASPer scenario. And if you're not the fastest typer in the world, then just practicing this a few times a day would be a super great way to improve that muscle memory and maximize your typing speed prior to test day. And finally, if you have any more questions about PrepBeacon, you can reach out to me personally. You can reach out to the team members using the chat box on their website, or of course you can email them, link in the description down below. Okay, so another one that you've probably heard of, if you've done even a little bit of CASPer resource research, you've probably heard of BMO Academic Consulting. It's probably the #1 best known resource, not only for CASPer preparation, but preparation for any professional program. And they have a lot of reasons to back up this title, right? And I speak from personal experience. I'm someone who has used BMO in the past, and I can vouch for them and say that they're a great solid company. However, BMO is much more expensive. You'll be paying 10 times the price of PrepBeacon in order to get similar value. And although, of course, they have an expert team of advisors and evaluators, you are paying much more for this. So if you're in a financially comfortable position and you really want to go with Canada's #1 prep resource, then go for BMO. They offer a super high yield CASPer prep program. When I did it at the time, and maybe it's changed a little bit, but they had a foundational course that you would watch a couple of videos. and then depending on what package you have 3 to, I believe, unlimited CASPer simulation tests. And you'll be able to either meet with an evaluator or get written feedback in order to discuss your test. But just to give you an idea, where I said Prep Beacon was at $120 to get their pro version, BMO's basic CASPer package is currently at $1,197. So literally 10 times the price at the time of filming, and that's apparently on sale. So the prices are set to go up. And I think by the time this video is released, the price will have already gone up. So if that's something you're interested, better get over there fast, because they keep increasing the prices as you get closer and closer to the high season in order to balance out that supply and demand. Okay, so another resource that I've come across, I haven't personally used, but I have heard about it, is Astrof. Now, Astrof is another admission mentoring company that aims to maximize your score in the CASPer test if you're focusing on CASPer prep. And they have 3 different packages. The most basic package comes in at $197, and it comes in with 2 foundational courses and then I believe 4 simulation tests. But I'm not so sure if that comes with any feedback. I think you have to go up a package to get 1 feedback session, I think, on one of the tests. And to get feedback on everything, I think you have to go for the highest package. Now, I could be wrong, and I don't want to, provide false information, but that's the first impression that I got when looking at the website. Nonetheless, I've heard that, it works really well for people, just like BMO works very well for people, just like Prep Beacon works very well for people. So what's important is that when you're selecting a resource, think about your finances, think about what you're looking for. Do you want more self-practice? Do you want more, more engagement with an actual person on Zoom, or you're okay with AI feedback? So these are all different tools that each resource has to offer. And of course, I just listed 3, right? You have other ones. I know CASPer Boosters on there, Med Applications, I believe, on there. And I think if you're based in the US, Med School Insiders probably provides a CASPer package as well. So these are all resources that I highly encourage you to look at, as well as other free resources. I mean, I didn't mention that BMO also has some free resources, some, practice CASPer scenarios and whatnot. So that's obviously worth checking out. I think anything that has free resources is worth checking out. But at the end of the day, you want to select the resource that works best for you. Right now, if I could go back in time, I would select Prep Beacon realistically. And of course, I'm biased to help create it, but it's, a bigger bang for my buck. And it wasn't created at the time when I applied to medical school. And I did end up using BMO for the CASPer prep specifically, and I thought it was excellent. So I'm not going to discredit that. I definitely saw value in what they offered. But if I could save, 90% of that and get the same value, then I totally would. Needless to say, I'm super curious. What kind of resources have you used to study for the CASPer? What resources are you planning on using to study for the CASPer? And if you have any questions about any of these resources, just drop a comment down below or send me a message on Instagram, send me a message by email. A lot of you have been reaching out to me, and I'm always happy to answer questions, so don't hesitate. So that concludes the video. Thank you for watching. I wish you all the best in your CASPer prep. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.